A Search in Secret Egypt by Paul Brunton. Chapter 1. A Night with the Sphinx. The last hungry tourist had gone. The last black-robed guide had repeated for the thousandth time his smattering of superficial lore for the benefit of alien visitors to his ancient land. And a group of tired donkeys, weary, snarling camels had hastened homeward with their last riders for the day. The fall of dusk upon the Egyptian scene is an unforgettable event, an event of unearthly beauty. Everything is transformed in color, and the most vivid contrasts come into being between sky and earth. I sat alone on the yielding yellow sand before the stately regal figure of the crouching Sphinx, a little to one side, watching with fascinated eyes the wonderful play of ethereal colors, which swiftly appear and as swiftly pass when the dying sun no longer covers Egypt with golden glory. For who can receive the sacred message which is given to him by the beautiful, mysterious afterglow of an African sunset without being taken into a temporary paradise? So long as men are not entirely coarse and spiritually dead, so long as men are not entirely coarse and spiritually dead, so long they will continue to love the Father of life, the Sun, which makes these things possible by its unique sorceries. They were not fools, those ancients, who revered Ra, the great light, and took it into their hearts as a god. First it had rested low in the sky, magnificently flaming all heaven, a glistening red, a red that of glowing embers. Then the coloring toned down, and a soft, rosy coral flush spread across the horizon. Softer yet, it became until like a rainbow, a half-dozen different hues, from rose pink to green and gold, made a fitful bid for life. Finally, it moved to a grayish opalescence as twilight crept quickly over the scene. The breathtaking tints disappeared together with the great round dying light. And against the opal background, I saw the Sphinx begin to take on the color of the night. No longer did the last red rays shine vividly across its featureless face. Out of the omnipresent sands it emerged, this giant face, with recumbent body that inspires superstitious Bedouins with such fear that they came to name it the Father of Terror, and skeptical travelers with such wonder that in every age its colossal figure has raised questions upon the lips of those who gapingly behold it for the first time. The mystery of this unnatural combination, this lion with a human head, has vaguely attracted an age-old procession of visitors. It is an enigma for the Egyptians themselves and a puzzle for the entire world. No one knows who carved it or when. The most expert Egyptologists can but guess blindly at its meaning and history. In the final glimpse which the vanishing light permitted me to receive, my own eyes came to rest upon the stone eyes of the Sphinx, which, still and quiet, had watched myriads come, one by one, to look at it questioningly, and then depart perplexed, which, unmoved, had seen the dark men of the now lost world, the Atlanteans, engulfed under millions of tons of water, which, half smiling, had witnessed Mena, M-E-N-A, the first of the pharaohs, turn yonder Nile, Egypt's beloved river, from its course and force it to flow through a new bed, which, silently regretful, had seen the grave of Saturnine faces of Moses bowed in a last farewell, which mutely sorrow-stricken had viewed the sufferings of its ruined and ravaged land after fierce Cambyses burst over Egypt from Persia, which charmed yet contemptuous had seen the haughty silken-dressed Cleopatra land from a vessel with gilded stern, purple sails and silver oars, which delighted had warmed the young wandering Jesus as he sought the Eastern wisdom, preparing for the anointed hour of his public mission when his Father would send him forth with a divine message of love and pity, which secretly pleased, had blessed, a brave, generous, and learned young noble, one Saladin, so that he rode away his crescent inscribed, green-penned lance in the air, to become one day the Sultan of Egypt, which warningly had greeted Napoleon as an instrument of Europe's fate, that fate which would set his name so high as to eclipse all other names and then force him to stand with a gloomy brow upon the smooth planks of the Bellerophon, which, slightly melancholy, had seen the attention of the whole world fixed upon its country when the tomb of one of its proud pharaohs was opened, his mummified carcass and regal ornaments becoming the prey of modern curiosity. Those stone eyes of the Sphinx had seen all this and more, and now, disdainful of men who fret themselves over trivial and transient activities, indifferent to the endless cascade of human joy and suffering which passes across the Egyptian valley, knowing that the great events of time are destined and inescapable, they gaze out of their large sockets into eternity. Yes, one felt powerfully that, themselves changeless, they look across the shifts of time into the beginnings of the world, into the darkness of the unknown. And then the Sphinx turned soot black, and the sky lost its silver-gray opalescence. The wild darkness, complete, all-absorbing, conquered the desert. But the Sphinx still held me, still gripped my attention as with powerful magnetism. For now I felt, with the approach of night, it was coming into its own. The background of darkness was its appropriate setting, and in the mystic quality of an African night, it would breathe a fitting atmosphere. Ra and Horus, Isis and Osiris, and all the vanished gods of Egypt come creeping back at night too. So I determined to wait until moon and star should combine to reveal the true Sphinx once more. I sat alone, and yet, despite the profound desolation of the desert, I did not, nay, I could not feel lonely.